My name is Ada, and welcome to Bible Study with Ada. Basically, know the story, just quick foundation. Joseph was with his brothers. He didn't quite act right because Joseph was still a child. He didn't look at the countenance of his brothers. He was just telling them different dreams. They didn't like him. He was favored. That was not his fault. But then he was just putting salt to the injury, telling them dreams up and down. I mean, the Bible said that the brothers didn't like the way he talked about these dreams. I feel like Joseph was just carrying himself, carrying shoulder, favored child, that kind of thing. And remember, he was last born. I mean, there was Benjamin, but then he was last born for a while. So his brothers didn't like him. Normal sibling rivalry that got so bad, and he turned to hate. Probably, obviously, he contributed. His father played a factor. Everybody had contributed into the thing. And finally, the brothers started to think of killing him. And then his brother saved him, and then he has been sold to slavery, basically. 39 start of us. Now the Ishmaelites are taking Joseph to Egypt, and he was sold to Potiphar's house. And I was just thinking about it. So Potiphar is one of the king's officers, right? One of the big people, influential people in that place, right? He was the captain of the palace guards. So he was a captain. He was very instrumental, with to the king. And I'm like, what are the odds? First of all, when you sell a person, they didn't know where he was going to land. They didn't care. They were thinking they didn't even I don't even think he considered anywhere good. And if you have sold someone, you've sold the person to a life of slavery. Like, jokes aside, what the brothers did is crazy. That kind of darkness. That's how he ended 38. Like, he was sold. No hope of return, no thoughts of the future, nothing. Like, he was buried, and the entire story of Joseph was gone. But God, we started to see what God is cooking. God using a situation that looks like there is no hope, because in that time there was no hope for a man that was sold. It was so bad that they had to tell the father that he had died. That's, at the end of the day, the entire scenario was going to be like he had died. But now this is Joseph. God orchestrated it, and he's in Potiphar's house. Joseph had a lot. He could blame a lot of persons. He could blame his brothers. He could blame God, because his dreams were from God, and he was just talking. He could blame his father. He could blame his mom for dying early and not even sorting out all these things. But let's actually see how he goes through this, because he wasn't really doing any of this here, right? The Bible said that the Lord was with Joseph. I think I highlighted it here, verse 2, right? The Lord was with Joseph. See, like, it's so crazy how it ended in the dark. It started very, very unsure and weird for us. But then the Bible is telling us, verse 2. The Bible doesn't want us to overthink. Calm down. The Bible is like, calm down. I got you. I was with Joseph, right? And I feel like that's just how he did me. Said the Lord was with Joseph and he made him successful. Other versions that I read said he made him prosper in everything that he did. Like, God was with him in that place. Even in that dark place, God was with him. And God can be with you in any situation. Imagine, outsiders saw that God was with him. That is just how God is. That is how God's favor is. That is how God's blessing when a man is. It is visible to other people. For an Egyptian to notice God in you. It also tells me that as Christians, that's actually the call. We're called to represent God in the way that we serve, in the way that we are, that others will see God in us. Even if they don't believe in your God, they need to see him in you, And he even noticed that God made him successful in everything that he did. And then Potiphar was very smart. Potiphar was pleased with him and made him his personal servant. So he put him in charge of his house and everything that he owned. This is very funny to me. Imagine someone else that probably doesn't believe in God, capping, like, smart, and then taking advantage of God. And then sometimes I just wonder that Christians, we don't do that. It is crazy. This man saw signs. It's like, what I'm saying is, God is with this guy. Let me do 2 plus 2. He did this, he did that. Everything is working for him. There's something about this guy. And he trusted that God that he not even really know. But because he saw signs, and he put Joseph in charge of everything. And I'm just like, as Christians, what if we trusted God like this? Like, we see signs, we look into our past, we see what he's doing, we see what the Bible has said about him, we see how reliable he is, we see how consistent he is, and we trust him with our life. Imagine as Christians what that would do for us. Because it did so much for Potiphar's house. He was enjoying the blessing. So it's a no-brainer sometimes. I'm like, why do we really not trust God that much? Like, why are we trying to drag with him? You see, the difference between success that people experience is really the level of surrender. Potiphar turned everything to him so much that Potiphar didn't even care about administration of his entire house. He only cared about what he would eat. That was peace. Potiphar had peace. Like, this was a gift from God. And Potiphar was just like, oh my goodness, this servant. When you have such a dedicated, loyal servant and also hardworking, because Joseph had to be hardworking. Joseph was obviously competent, obviously learned on the job. He was fast and it was great. And then for your master to be like, you know what, I'm not even going to be worried about anything in this house because I'm taking up the entire burden, and the only thing I just concern myself is, what will I eat today? I mean, chef, what are we thinking? You know what I mean? Every time I read this Joseph story, I'm just thinking about myself. How is my service? How is my work? Mind you, Joseph is in a difficult situation. Let's talk about that for a bit, right? A lot is going on with Joseph. Like, Joseph is going through a lot is happening to him. And he still had I would say guts. He still had the courage and the strength to serve and serve well. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay, let me say the meal before. I would grumble. Like, I would want to be like, let me just take care of my mental health first. Everything should just wait. Let it be about me for a bit. Like, how come Joseph is not sulking? How come he's not even trying to explain that wait. Like Potiphar, see, you don't understand, leave job first. Help me find my home. Let me look at the past. This is what happened to me. He's not even thinking all of that. He's working and he's working well. So I'm like, did Joseph accept this life that he has come to? And I'm just wondering what was in his mind. But the thing is, you see the difference. Whatever he was going through was definitely not showing in his work. And I'm just like, that is such a strength provided by God that you not even look like what you've been through. It is such a God thing, and that is only possible when God is with him. And that's why the Bible started with that. It was because God was with him. He gave him success, he gave him strength, and then he was excelling. They were promoting him, because we have issues in our life and sometimes we just relax. We take too long in that trauma, we take too long figuring it out, and we just don't go close to God to draw strength to move on. It is not easy. It's not something you do by your flesh, but it is strength that comes from God that we have to lean into so we can move on. And I just figured out that's what Joseph was doing. And then it starts to happen. We know this gist. Joseph is looking so good. Potiphar's wife started to eye him so much that like she was looking at him, and he was in some sort of temptation because it was so bad. It was happening daily. She was literally trying to like, what's up, my nigga? Like, daily. So, if we do the math, we realize that Joseph stayed in that space in Potiphar's house for like 11 years. So I don't know how long Potiphar's wife was trying to feed the boy. I don't know, but that just seems like a lot. Like the Bible said, he refused so much that he was not even in the same space with her anymore. Till the day she finally now decided, you know what, she followed him, and then she's asking, you know what, live with me. And it was just a response for me. I'm like, his response showed that he had grown. He had really grown. And he's like, I have as much authority in this house as my master has, and he has not kept anything from me except you. How then could I do such an immoral sin against God? Many things that Joseph had to know to be able to overcome this temptation, and I feel like this is something that would help us. First of all, Joseph's refusal was backed up by a strong force, and that strong force is the knowledge and the fear of God, because he identified it. He said this is a wickedness, an immoral thing, and a sin against God. He identified that this was against God. So most of the time, like, what really gives us strength is just we have a bigger fear. Like, the fear for God is stronger. It's like we know God and we care about what God thinks. Most of the time we go about life, we care about only ourselves, what other people think, what we think, but we don't care about what God thinks. Obviously Joseph knew that, and that helped him, right? Also, Joseph didn't care about getting caught. He would have done this thing sharp, maybe nothing would have happened, right? He just cared about hurting God, not about getting caught. Right? That was very important that Joseph knew. Joseph also understood boundaries. You could tell from his response. He said that, see, this is within my boundary. Your master is giving me everything in his house except you. Your master did not give me you. Your master did not give me you. So that kind of thing, like Joseph knew boundaries, and he even tried to explain it to her. She did not understand, but he did. Joseph knew the cost of following God. He knew that there were things to lose. He knew the cost. He knew that, I can't just do this thing. I will lose this thing. Maybe he was thinking like, these people have gotten inside of my master. I will now lose it. You can see that Joseph is growing. He's thinking. Before, Joseph was not thinking. My personal opinion. Joseph wasn't thinking. The Bible, it was clear. The Bible made it clear that his brothers were no longer dealing with him peaceably, right? The countenance had fallen. Yeah, Joseph was still doing what he was doing. He was not even being observant. He was not observant. But now we can see that he's actually growing. He's thinking, he's playing a lot of things in his mind. And the thing is the fact that he was able to boldly say no. Anyways, Joseph had been like that from the beginning. He was bold enough to be reporting his brothers up and down. So we see that same character. Maybe that's when he learns it. That same character is playing out here again. And he's bold. And I love it. And he just tells us that's how we should do temptation. Like, don't even dilly-dally around it. Joseph, he ran. Like, he ran. He ran so much that his cloak was caught in her hand and he ran. He left his outfit with her, like, remnant of his garment. He left it with her and he ran. When I was reading that part where he said, she caught on to him and I'm like, this is the second time that Joseph is getting stripped of his outfit. The first time his brothers relayed him, beat him, removed that coat of many colors that he was wearing with pride and threw him into the pit. This is the second time. I'm just like, can the boy catch some breath? Like, if we should let the boy breathe. We know the story. This woman lied against him, told the husband the entire opposite, and Potiphar was angry. And I'm like, I felt sad for Joseph because I'm like, Potiphar didn't even ask questions. Like, he didn't even, he knew Joseph now. Has Joseph not shown so much that Potiphar could just give him just small benefit of the doubt? And to be fair, I don't even know about Potiphar's wife, let's be honest. For someone to come to a slave like this and has been, like, she was doing it so bad that I'm just wondering, this woman has done this thing before. The Bible just never told us that Joseph defended himself. And I was shocked. Do you know what it means? Do you know allegation of rape is? It could be death sentence. Like, prison was just, you don't even know, he was probably going to rot in prison for a slave that was brought. Like, it's not even slave in their domain. Imported slave going to come to your master's house and want to rape your master's wife. That is crazy allegation. And Joseph didn't say anything. And I'm just like, maybe he didn't even know what to say. Like, at this point, there's no matter there. And they say that you will receive them beyond your talk. Like, there's nothing you can say. Like, there is nothing. I felt like he was just in a situation and just didn't want God at bed. Like, he was just quiet. And I'm like, sometimes it's better because what would he have said? Maybe if he had said something might even be used against him. But everything was God's orchestration, right? In 19, we see that he was put in the prison where king's prisoners were kept. Obviously, at this point, Joseph does not know that God is orchestrating anything. In his mind, I am here again. I came out of a pit. Now I'm going to a bigger pit. Like, what is going on? And I don't know if at this point he was just wondering, God, those dreams that you gave me, what is coming out of them? At least I understand the pit you made away. This one, this prison, I don't even know how Joseph was thinking. Was he probably thinking that it's over? Those dreams are useless, right? The thing about God is, it was important that those dreams came before this chapter. It came before all this series of events. Because God will show you something so that you can hold on to it, so you can stand on it. He will not just leave you, right? He will leave you with evidence. He will leave you with signs. He will leave you with a word. He will leave you with something to encourage you so that when you're going through these things, because they will happen, right? When you're going through these things, you will remember and you hold on to it. Maybe he was holding on to that as hope. Maybe, just maybe, right? But then in the prison too, also the Lord blessed him. The Lord was with him, he blessed him. And the jailer was pleased with him. So the blessing of the Lord was causing him favor with everyone, right? And he put him in charge of everything. Similar situation that happened in the house of his master, right? And the jailer did not have to look after anything that was in Joseph's hands, because the Lord was with Joseph and he made him sustain everything and did. Same thing. Joseph was even hardworking. So I really might know that hard work plus even the blessing. Like that, God was giving him success even in the prison. So that means Joseph had the same attitude. He was willing to serve. He was still serving. And I'm like, is Joseph processing everything that's happening to him? That means God's presence just gave him so much strength, so much wisdom. And I was writing, I was reflecting on the fact that God was training Joseph. Still, because of the plans that God had for him, God had to find ways to train him. Pockets of training here and there. God had to train him. That's why God was ensuring that he was training in every space. And I'm just like, God, are there times that you're training me, but I don't even know? And because I don't even know, I'm not even following the training. God knows what is ahead of you. He knows the plans that he has for you. He knows that great future, but he needs to train you for that. So imagine I'm too depressed to even be trained. I'm like, God, I don't know. Imagine like I'm too carried away. I'm too focused on bitterness. I'm too busy to even notice that, okay, the things I should be learning so that I can serve. Because it's this service, it's these things that you're doing that trains your personality, trains your character, makes you mature for the role that he has for you. Look at God's presence still gives strength. Like, see, this is something, if you don't hear anything today, know that if you're going through a difficult time, do everything that you need to do, but make sure you do that with God, because God's presence makes the difference. And let's just see what happens to Joseph, right? Genesis 14. Bye.